Hello, everybody. So today I'm going to talk to you about ways that you can slow down your usage of the amount of territory in your missions and how to take a slower pace across the map and how that might look like. So to demonstrate this, I have actually brought up a mission I recently just made. Um, This mission is designed from the ground up as an Apache frontline mission. This is so that, uh, from the perspective of you flying as an Apache, you are supporting a frontline push across this ridgeline from Turkey into Syria. Now, the reason for this is that uh, in this scenario, it is to get troops through this mountain pass so that you can then begin attacking enemy supply lines and other infrastructure supporting their hold on this territory along here. So, when I say slowing down terrain usage, what do I mean? Well, what I mean is with a lot of squadrons that I have participated and flown with over the past couple of years, most of the time missions will start up here in Incirlik up here, and they will very quickly run across straight from Haiti, quickly dodge over here, then head south, then quickly make their way all the way across the map. And before you know it, by about 7, 8 missions later, we're already down here, and we started up here, and you can see this is over 100 nautical miles of territory. Um, and while that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, in fact, it can actually be quite fun to essentially play conquer the map. It does miss out on a lot of the smaller missions and other missions that would be present in a battlefield of this size. And what I mean by that, well, in this mission, um, there are a multitude of things that are actually being done. This is not just an Apache mission. This is also, I designed this to also have other tasks to be done. So, in the case of the Apaches, their whole job is to help destroy these tanks and whatever other assets may be supporting these tanks to allow friendly forces to move through here. But that's the Apache's mission. Well, the A-10s, in this case, would also be supporting in this mission, along with helping out with targets that would be further back here supporting, because those would be a little hard for the Apaches to reach, and they need to stay in their own cover because they are vulnerable from other aircraft. So, and the A-10s are as well. But the A-10s can at least scoot out faster than the Apaches can. So, um, so that's the cast part. What else have we got? Well, we've also got this artillery site here, which is supporting the defense of this area, which would need to be taken out. This in particular would have to be taken out by a strike or a CAS aircraft. So this could be a task mission for an A-10 or a couple of F-18s or even a couple of F-16s. So this is just another solo task. And you can see that this only takes up 25, 30 units. Same thing if it was an FMLR site. It's only going to take up 25, 30 units, but it's a task that needs to get done that plays into this whole larger goal. And as you can see, the other part that's also down here is for supply depots. And these would be much more heavily protected, but because we're not, since these are so far in the backfield, we're just simulating if you were actually to attack them or destroy them. They are there to be destroyed, not really facing a ground or a helo assault or anything else like that. But this also plays into another part of the mission in which you can strike supply lines. where exactly these are feeding directly to support these guys, along with these guys, and whatever else support units they may have in this entire area. So, as it is, with a very small amount of units in a very small amount of space of only 20 miles, we have made approximately 3 or 4 objectives, which need to be accomplished to help push the front line forward. And this gives a much more sense of scale as to how much is involved in a front line and in what is involved in moving across a map. In a lot of cases, when you're first starting out, it's much easier to skip over this. And this is not stuff for the people who are just learning how to use the mission editor. But these are things that I feel that the DCS community needs to begin to learn, especially as we have gotten more attack helicopters and other close ground assets, close ground support assets in the game, and especially as we are waiting for the Strike Eagle, waiting for the F-16 and F-18 to be completed, along with a multitude of other the multitude of other combat aircraft that could probably be introduced there from the modern era or very close to the modern era. We are very much approaching the point where exactly we can't ignore the large amount of stuff that can be done on a smaller scale in terms of the future plans for this mission would only encompass moving this front line only 10 miles and would encompass an area of pretty much just this entire grid square of Bravo Alpha, possibly starting to go into Bravo Victor. And in that, we could have a fraction of the amount of, we could have a very small amount of missions in a very concentrated area. And for this, we can even do places where there's backstories. There are reasons why this place is such a thing that is a pain to get through. Where exactly, like, there's a common road that gets ambushed, or there's an area that's giving us trouble, and we've been trying to get through it for the past day or two. We've hit it with, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All this kinds of stuff plays into making the entire area seem bigger, and it's part of doing more narrative storytelling, but it does allow you to get more of a sense of there's more going on here than we can actually simulate, because DCS is limited in how many units you can put in right now because of performance reasons and etc. And because of that, we have to do things to make things seem bigger. In this case, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can't actually see in this mission, but there are small little things that we can do. We can focus on what exactly is something that I can do to make the line push forward. What is something that I can do in order to advance the goals that this campaign has set out to do. If the entire campaign is to essentially go all the way from the northern part of Syria all the way down to the southern part of Syria and essentially take control over that entire space, that's fine. And you can do it however you want. But there can also be interesting missions where exactly you only take up a very small amount of space. Where exactly I have seen 1 or 2 missions where the entire operating area is literally condensed within 50 miles. And while you have to fly a long ways to get there, pretty much the entire campaign of like 5 or 8 missions only takes place inside of 50 square miles, or and 50 square miles or even slightly bigger. And this can be interesting if you know how to make it interesting. And in this case, it's uh, making a frontline push that really gives people interest. There's other missions that will be discussed in other videos, including intel, recon, um, surveillance, all these kinds of different types of missions, which really help to feed into making the map feel bigger. I mean, these maps are huge. They are huge, and we're uh, hopefully soon going to be getting South Atlantic. If when this video releases, it isn't out already, which is going to be the biggest map in DCS. And these maps are so big, and there's sometimes things that we go quickly from one end of the map to the other, restart, do the same thing again, or we start from another area and do the same thing going from one end to the other. And there's a lot that can be done in these maps, and I'm hoping that this video helps expand your understanding of the possibilities that can be done with these maps with the right creativity, the right just a different way of looking at it. Anywho, guys, hope this video helps, and I will see you later.